Again, we are live from the LinkedIn Hub on day 2 of Advertising Week, and we have with us Grant Owen, who is the Chief Strategy Officer of Critical Mass. So, Grant, one of the main things we were talking about, and I always like to ask people about trends, what's going on, where are things moving, and you said something about the video trend. The video trend is a big deal, and so I want to hear your perspective on that and what your thoughts are on this video trend.
Yeah, the thing that came to mind was this idea that Facebook and Twitter and obviously YouTube are moving into video in more immersive ways, so 360 video, higher resolution video. The fact that I can get 4K video online and I can't get it from my traditional providers, I think gives large opportunity for brands to jump in there and take advantage of what's happening in video. So I'm anxious to see in 2015 what will happen with video content and where brands will take it that is not sort of traditional one point of view, one perspective video.
I think that is we've spoken about that with so many different people about the role of video and how short form is so important and how having an emotional reaction is so important. So what are your thoughts on the type of video you think that are really going to be able to connect brands or connect people to brands?
Yeah, it really spans the gamut. I mean, it depends on what brand you are, right? But it could be informational, it could be educational, and it could certainly be entertaining. Short form or long form. I think we're finding increasingly people are very willing to watch long form video on their mobile screens, which we didn't think would happen. And that's happening a lot more frequently than it was. Western markets are now picking up on that behavior. So if you're a brand, it's really an open canvas for what you're going to do with video content. And it's really interesting. I mean, it could be very short form, a few seconds. The new Beam app launched, and it's 4 seconds of video, so that's 2 seconds shorter than Vine.
I didn't think we could outdo that one, but
right.
Yeah, geez.
But it could be long form as well. So I think it's really wide open. It comes down to what your creative vision is and what story you want to tell.
So that all brings us to, obviously, we've been talking a lot about relevance, and everybody wants to be relevant to the user and to the consumer and so on. And you are looking at it slightly differently. You're saying that there are kind of 2 different strains of relevance, or two different sides we need to be thinking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So we tend to think about relevance as marketers, and we think about targeting, place, time, situation, all that good stuff. That's very valuable, but something I think is arguably more valuable is sort of cultural relevance. And a lot of brands that we're working with, we're working on ideas of what's your brand narrative, what's your brand story, making sure that moment of relevance is true to the brand. If you have that, consumers will come to you. If you're truly a relevant sort of social and cultural brand, consumers will come your way, and you actually spend a lot less time doing targeting. So if you think about a brand like a Patagonia, their purpose, their brand mission is so relevant to where we are in society that people are gravitating toward that brand. So then there's the targeting side, and we could go on for 30 minutes, but we don't have that time.
We don't necessarily want to do that. But yeah, I mean, you gave me an example, but I think I was going to ask you more so, like, what are some brands that you think have managed to capture that relevance moment and almost let the consumers come to them? And how do you think they've done it?
We have a really cool project underway with the United Nations for the Mine Action Services Network. So the UN supports ridding the world of landmines. One of the examples that I would give that we've done with them is we've got an experience set up at the UN here in New York, and you can actually go with your mobile phone and experience sort of a surprise mine detonation. That, to me, brings immediate relevancy to something that's a very distant topic, but the technology brings it right into your sort of experience, right into your personal space. Delivering that level of relevance, bringing that story to a very local point, be it your mobile phone, is really fascinating to me. And I think brands could do more and more of that, sort of bringing the storytelling very close to home.
Well, storytelling is something that has come up so often, and it's obviously a part of making the user experience so unique and meaningful to them. And you're in the business of designing user experiences, right? Yeah. That's what you do, particularly for mobile and so on. And I want to talk a little bit about what are some of the things you in this day and age currently, like in the trends today, are very focus on significantly to try and really maximize that user experience?
Yeah, great question, and it's changing so rapidly. Be it a new social platform launching, a new technology, a new back-end code, a new e-commerce partner. All of that changes by the second in our industry. So one of the ways we think about it is just let's follow consumer behaviors. Let's get out ahead of them as much as we can. So we're constantly out there researching. We're looking at new behaviors on mobile. We're looking at the fact that I just learned today that Domino's Pizza, 50% of their business is done on digital. So 50% of their orders, a quarter of that, half of that 50%, so a quarter of their total business
is on mobile.
That's Domino's Pizza. So someone that's as easy as a phone call away that you know you probably have the number memorized to, people are gravitating toward that. It's not just Uber, it's not just Seamless, it's a lot of other partners. So we're looking at those things, and if you were to come into our agency today, you would see so much of our work is mobile first. It's just the way that we go about creating these experiences for those behaviors. So studying those behaviors, getting ahead of them, and then executing toward that.
Well, you talked about mobile. Obviously, mobile's on the rise, and it's not going anywhere and everything. And I want to hear from you some of what you think are the opportunities versus the challenges of mobile today.
Yeah, the existing challenge that everyone has talked about in mobile is that idea of invasion of privacy. So sort of my phone is my personal space.
The intrusiveness.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a really interesting topic this week or the last few weeks since iOS 9 has come out and ad blockers became sort of the talk of the day. So we're going to see a very interesting next 18 months or so in looking at how consumers interact with their phones and what they'll allow brands to do. And we'll see technologies that come into play to protect the consumer. As a consumer design agency, we're all about that sort of consumer-first mindset. And I'm fascinated by trying to figure out how can we get a good brand story in front of folks in a way that they'll appreciate, not in a way that they'll try to
they'll
avoid.
feel like they've been violated. You violated my very personal space. Yeah.
And so the opportunity is if you're a brand that gets that right and you sort of follow the social code, if you will, you're going to have a lot of brand advocacy. You're going to have a lot of people that sort of tag along with your brand and love it for that reason.
I think what I've heard a lot too from people is you're only really going to get one chance, especially on mobile, one chance to get it right with consumers.
Yeah. Well, you could sort of double down on that and say something like 80-some% of apps are only used once ever on your phone.
Seriously?
Yeah. So if you have 30 apps on your phone,
I need to get rid of some apps.
You might be using 5 or 6 in a frequent basis, but the others are just sitting out there. Maybe you've used them once. So yeah, absolutely. If you don't sort of nail that first experience, the stickiness just isn't there.
Yeah, I think it's a really important point people need to think about, and that's going to lead us into something else that people need to think about, and big data. So I've spoken to a lot of people in the past couple of days about automation and about programming and about programmatic and about being able to really hone in, and we know everything now, demographic, psychographic, everything about the people we are targeting. But I know, and I'm sure you can speak to this, is that we are still in the very early stages of this, and I don't think we're getting it perfectly right all the time.
No, I think you're right. I would agree with you. I mean, just as consumers, you see the use of data in your everyday behavior online or on your phone, wherever you're sort of executing with brands, and you see that data sometimes is wonky. It comes across the wrong way. And research that we've done and I've done, we've seen people will look at a retargeted ad and they'll be like, you're selling me the shoes I'm wearing right now. I bought those shoes, but you continue to sell me those shoes. And terrific platforms like Amazon are the ones doing this. So if Amazon's ahead of that game on big data, and they're still doing it, imagine what the rest of the industry is doing.
Right.
It's just money poorly spent. It's sort of bad. I would call it dumb money spent on big data, and it becomes dumb data that. There's a lot of it, and we have plenty of it, but we're not necessarily using it in the right ways. I would describe it as the uncanny valley, in the movie industry where you get an avatar so much like a human, it becomes a little bit weird, and that's where we're at with big data. We've got to cross that valley and get to the point where big data is so smart and the human intelligence, the machine intelligence is so good that it's a terrific experience that I don't call out as being weird or intrusive or awkward.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes I feel like it's a little simplistic. Even you gave the example of Amazon. I, was going to a baby shower. I bought baby products. A gift for the baby shower.
According to Amazon,
I don't have. I know. Yeah. I am a mom, but my daughter's 8. Not 2 months old, and they're still sending me all kinds of baby stuff, and I'm like, come on, people. I mean, it seems like something you should, be able to figure out or something. I don't know.
It's not that they don't have the data. It's just that the data's dumb, right? And that the data doesn't know you like a person does. I think the challenge with big data is it's got to help people relate to people, not help machines target you. And we're not there yet, as you said.
Well, I hope we get there soon. What are some of the trends that you see in the next, say, year? In 2016, what are the trends you're seeing in big data as it relates to improving that user experience?
Yeah, well, I think we'll see brands get smarter about it. I mean, there's plenty of stories where brands don't quite get it right. The shoes just being one example, the baby products being another. I think that we'll see brands sort of take a deep breath, look at the data that they have. I think we'll have marketers look at trying to mash their departments together so that big data is used more seamlessly across departments, and that's a big challenge for legacy institutions that are used to working in different silos. So that's one of the things I think is an organizational challenge. We'll see that. And then I think we'll see it, it's not the new creative in my mind, but it informs creative. And so I think we'll see ways that we can pull from big data, garner insights that drive new stories, not just retargeting and programmatic media. I think those are just the tip of the iceberg of what's possible with big data.
Well, I absolutely hope so they can stop sending me ads about baby products. No need for them. Thank you so much, Grant, and enjoy the rest of advertising.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.